Hi everyone, and welcome to chapter one. In this video, I'm going to briefly talk about chapter one. Remember, I always have two types of videos for you. One, which is like this one, that are kind of long because I go over the lecture notes, and my lecture notes in the videos are slightly different from what I posted on D2L, because I add actually more things that I can explain when I go over them in my videos. But the content is pretty much the same as what I posted on D2Up. Also, I have shorter videos um, where um, where I'm focused on a specific topic. They are short, and they are either recorded by myself or something that I found on YouTube that I thought might be helpful. So check them out. They're all on D12 under the content tab, where you find basically the materials for each week, okay, on weekly modules basically that we have. So chapter one is about kind of the different definitions and topics that are important in economics. Basically, our first three chapters, or I can say even fourth chapter that we cover at the beginning of our class, are focused on some foundation and fundamental topics in economics. So the very first thing that we're going to discuss in chapter one is basically why it's important for us to study economics. Okay. Um, I have my degree in economics. Basically, the reason that we study economics is right here. Think about the activities that you can do in 24 hours. Okay. And I put some of the activities like sleeping, coming to college, going to work. If you have a doctor's appointment, going to your appointment. Working out. So we all have different things that we do, right, in 24 hours. But think about yourself that can you do all of them? And I also put a little vacation here. Can you do all of them in one day, right now, today? Or think about the stuff that you want to buy for your, let's say, for your apartment or for your bedroom. You want to buy a new bed. Let's say you want to buy a new laptop, you want to buy a new lamp. Are you able to pay for them right away? So most of the time, the answer is no, you cannot do all these activities in 24 hours. I mean, you can, but you'll be exhausted at the end of the day, right? Or probably you do not have the money to purchase whatever you want for your home in one transaction, right? Because we have limited income, right? We have limited amount of time to do the things that we want to do. So basically, I should say that I really don't have the time. I really am not able to do everything that I want, and I'm not able to purchase everything that I need for my home right away because of something that we call in economics scarcity. So, scarcity is the situation where you cannot basically achieve the things that you want to do in 24 hours because you have limited resources, you have limited time. You are not able to purchase whatever you want because you have limited, you are not able to do everything that you want in 24 hours, again, because you have limited time. So scarcity is the situation where we are dealing with limited resources. It could be time, it could be money, it could be for producers, it could be um, um, let's say the number of workers that they want to hire, the amount of land that they need. So the resources, the natural resources that they need. And the reason that we study economics is because economics will teach us how we are able to deal with this scarcity, how we are able to manage the limited resources that we have, and at the end of the day, finish some of the tasks that we are supposed to do, buy some of these stuffs that we want to buy for our apartment. So the job of economics is to study the choices that we make when it comes to scarcity. Because of course we cannot produce everything that we want as a producer. We are not able to buy whatever we want for our home at one transaction or right away. We are not able to accomplish all those things that we want to do in 24 hours. But we want to buy something for our home. We want to at least do a couple things that we're supposed to do every day, right? So what should we do? We are going, something that we already actually know the answer. We should definitely choose. We have to prioritize the things that we want to do in 24 hours. We have to prioritize the things we want to buy for our house. So we make choices when we are dealing with the scarcity. And economics helps us to study those choices that we make. Our choices at the end of the day will be different because our incentives obviously are different. Okay. So if I don't have any food at home, my priority will be going to grocery shopping instead of going on vacation or instead of going and getting a haircut. So our choices at the end of the day will be different because our incentives, our goals are different, okay? But we all make those choices when it comes to scarcity and the limited resources that we have. In economics, we say that these choices that we make are rational choices because we are rational people. What do I mean by that? It means that by being rational, it means that we are constantly comparing the cost and benefits of our actions. Okay. So rational choices are those choices that are made by comparing the cost and benefits of our action. What is the cost of doing the grocery and what is the benefits of doing my grocery today? What are the costs of buying a mattress, a new mattress for my bedroom? What are the benefits? So we're constantly comparing costs and benefits of our action because we are making rational choices. And we are kind of familiar with what we mean by costs and benefits, aren't we? So costs are what you are giving up to get something. Your time to do grocery is the cost that you are giving up, or the money that you spend buying that new mattress is could be your cost, right? So cost is whatever you are giving up, and benefit is whatever you are gaining. So for all of you who came actually to Lone Star College Sci Fair, you discussed the cost and benefits of coming here with your friends and family. So I'm not saying that you all had a list of benefits and costs, you didn't write anything down, but you definitely consider the benefits that you are gaining and the cost that you are giving up. So you are paying for your tuition, you are paying for your textbook, you are paying gas to get to college, right? You are paying you're paying, let's say, to buy a new laptop for your online classes. And of course, in the you're on the other hand, you're also getting some benefits out of it, right? So you become an educated person. You will have better jobs in the future. Hopefully you will make more money in the future. So you also went through that process of decision making, making those rational choices because you did consider cost and benefits of your actions as somebody who is in college. Okay. Sometimes we make decisions based on the decisions that we made in the past. So we bring small changes, minor changes to the decisions that we already made. So you went through this process of decision making by comparing costs and benefits of coming to college, right? So the benefits were greater than cost. That's why you are here. That's why you are taking this class. But sometimes you want to see, okay, should I take another class here at Lone Star College Sci-Fair? Should I stay another more year with Lone Star College Sci-Fair? Probably finish up my core courses and then transfer to four-year university or not. So right now, we are not talking about comparing the entire costs and benefits of coming to Lone Star College. We are actually considering the extra cost of taking another class with extra benefit of taking that extra course here at Lone Star College Sci-Fair. So right now, in this example, we are talking about comparing marginal cost of taking another class, which is an extra or additional cost, with extra benefit or marginal benefit of that action. If the marginal cost is greater than marginal benefit, you are not going to sign up for another class with us. But if the marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost, you will definitely sign up for that. So marginal means extra or additional. And we talk about marginal cost and marginal benefit and marginal values basically a lot in microeconomics. We learn how to define them, how to calculate them. So For businesses, especially, making this decision on margin is very, very important because it can impact their profit significantly. So it's important for businesses to be aware of the additional cost and additional benefit of even producing one more unit of output. Otherwise, they're going to lose profit. So far we talked about cost, benefit, marginal cost, and marginal benefit. But in economics, we also have another important concept that you probably heard about that it's called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost definition is very, very similar to what we had for cost. And most of the time in economics, when we talk about cost, we are talking about opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is what you are giving up to gain something else. So let's say you want to leave the house in the morning and you decide if you have to brew your own coffee at home or you should purchase it from Starbucks or from McDonald's or wherever you get your coffee from. So you are between the two choices that you are going to make. So the opportunity cost of brewing your own coffee at home is the Starbucks coffee that you are giving up and vice versa. So when it comes to opportunity cost, we're typically between two choices that we have. So you have to give up one to gain the other one. So at the end of this chapter, we will learn how we are able also to measure these opportunity costs that we're talking about. So this definition is very, very important. So we're going to come back to this because there's no formula to calculate opportunity cost. We are going to exactly use this definition. I do have this also video for you where basically if you follow the video, I'm pretty sure you all watched Little Mermaid, or at least you know the story behind Little Mermaid. So this is a conversation where Little Mermaid has with Ursula, and they talk about actually two types of So you probably guess the opportunity cost, right? So the opportunity cost of being a human is giving up her family, right? And also another opportunity cost was giving up her voice. So there is a cost for her to be with the prince, right? So there were two opportunity costs that they also discussed. So their life actually, as she said, as Ursula said, is full of opportunity costs, right? Should I take this class online or should I do it face to face, right? That's probably something that you also considered, right? So we are constantly dealing with um, different types of opportunity cost in our lives, right? So, what is the and I also have this question for you that you can answer. What is the opportunity cost of coming to college or taking this class or sitting in a class? So it could be your answer. I would say it could be the time that you could spend with your friends and family. It could be the money that you probably spend on tuition. You could do with that money you could do something else with that money, right? So these are your opportunity costs, right? Where I always ask my face-to-face classes, what is the opportunity cost? Especially it's at 8:30 in the morning. Half of my class will say sleep and the other half would say breakfast. So the opportunity cost of coming to an 8:30 class is the breakfast that you're giving up or the sleep that you are giving up, right? So economics, as I mentioned, is the science that studies the choices that we make when it comes to scarcity. Remember that we started this chapter by defining scarcity. And the reason that you guys are taking this class, and I have my degree in economics, is because of scarcity. If there wasn't any scarcity, we wouldn't talk about economics, because economics, again, is the science that studies these choices that we make, okay, when it comes to scarcity. And these are some of the misconceptions that people have about economics. I always get this question that people ask me, oh, what will happen to the stock market? Oh, that is not economics. That's finance. I have no idea what will happen to stock market. Or they ask me about that they think that economics is all about money. It is not really all about money. Yeah, we talk about money and banking, but it is beyond money. Okay. Um, One thing that economists actually do is to observe the things that are happening in the market, in our economy around us, and then they try actually to ask themselves that why it's happening, why the inflation rate is going up every day. And then they come up with different hypotheses, different possible answers for those questions, using, of course, economic models that we have and we will study in our class. So economists look into different scenarios to explain what's happening in the economy around us, in the market. And then they try to prove their possible answer, or as we call them, hypothesis, by collecting data, by looking at some a mathematical model that they have, and then try to come up with answers to explain why the prices are going up, why we're dealing with inflation, okay? And as soon as they are done proving those hypotheses, we can have economic principle or economic facts. And they use these type of facts or economic principles to provide recommendations for politicians, for government, and they try actually to come up with solutions and also some predictions about what will happen in the market in the future. In economics, our economists also use a lot of graphs, as we will also do, because we like to visualize things in economics. We use mathematical model. I don't want to scare you because I know that some of us don't like math, but we do have a little bit of math in economics, but they're not that hard because, again, I provided some videos for you. You can watch them on D12, where I try actually to solve questions for you if they're mathematical and show you step by step how you can do that. We also make a lot of assumptions, as you will see when we start our budget line or production possibilities in this chapter. So we do use a lot of assumptions, and some of them are very unrealistic, but we do them because we want to simplify things for ourselves to understand important topics. We also like to generalize things in economics. So we can definitely, again, be skeptical about some of the economic principles or facts that we have because we like to generalize them. For instance, in chapter 3, we learn about demand, and one of the factors that can impact our demand is income. And we say, okay, when people have more income, their demand will increase. But you might tell me, okay, if I have more money, I'm going to save more, which is absolutely right, which is absolutely wise. But in general, when people have more money, they have the tendency to demand more. So we like to generalize things, but can we have an outlier? Absolutely. But again, generalizing things, visualizing things, making assumptions, they help us to understand economic principles and economic facts. Okay. Right. I do also have definitions of microeconomics and macroeconomics that I also explained in my welcome video for you. But just a quick reminder that in microeconomics, we're focused on economics in more detail. We'll look into the economics in more detail, and we are focused on businesses, firms, and individuals and how they behave, how they make their choices when they face with scarcity. In macroeconomics, however, we are more focused on a country's economy, a nation's economy, and also global economy. And we'll see again how everybody, including individuals, businesses, and government, make those choices at the macroeconomic level. But keep in mind that micro and macro are related, okay? I know that there are two separate fields, but they are related at the end of the day. We also have two important types of statements in economics, positive and normative. So I want you to pay attention to news that you hear, or if you read an article, and try to guess if the statements that you're reading are positive or normative. Let me explain what we mean by that. So positive economics or positive statements are those statements that are based on facts. So you can test them easily. There's no value judgments attached to positive economics. And I will show you an example. So you can definitely test positive economics. Normative economics are those economics that you are not able to test them. You can agree or disagree with them. There is value judgment incorporated in normative economics, okay? Let me show you these two examples. Number one says lower interest rate can increase the housing prices. What do you think? Is it positive or normative? I bet you said positive. So you can gather some information about interest rate. You can gather some data on housing prices and test this statement. So statement number one is positive because you can test it. Number two, however, the Federal Reserve should decrease the interest rate this year is a normative statement or normative economics because you can agree or disagree with this action of the Federal Reserve. So some of you might support the decrease in interest rate because you want to get a student loan, you want to buy a new house. And some of us might say, no, the Federal Reserve should increase the interest rate because let's say we're fighting inflation. So statement number two is normative because it is not a fact. You can agree or disagree and you cannot test it. I would suggest that you check out some news outlets. I like NPR and read an article and see if you can figure out the statements that you are reading, if they are positive or normative. Okay. Let's talk about now another important thing that we have in chapter one, which is related to scarcity that we define at the beginning of this chapter. So to refresh your memories, scarcity is the situation where we are dealing with limited resources, okay? Limited resources for consumers or limited resources for producers, right? So our very first model that we're going to study is budget line. So this is an economic model, economic principle, right? Remember, we make assumptions, we visualize things, right? So budget line is the scarcity model. I apologize, that was my phone. So budget line is a scarcity model that is related actually to consumers. It tells us how the consumers are able to allocate the limited resources, obviously budget, the name of the model is budget, to purchase and consume different goods and services that they want. And we actually were all familiar with budget line because we're all consumers. We all have limited income at the end of the month, right? So but there are, of course, so many things that we want to buy, but we have to prioritize our things, right? We have to allocate our budget. We have to make sure that we pay our mortgage or our rent. We put some money aside for food, for gas, for clothing. So we are kind of all familiar with this economizing problem, how we are going to make those choices when we're dealing with limited budget. But of course, we like to, as I said, visualize things in economics, right? So I want you actually to look at this example here. So let's say you have a $50 budget, and there are two things that you want to purchase as a snack. And let's say you want to watch a movie or you want to watch a football game with your friends and family. Why I'm saying two, because we want to draw our budget line on a two-dimension graph, X and Y. So that's our very first assumption actually in our class. We're assuming that we can only purchase two products. And I'm going to make another assumption. We're going to spend all the $50 that we have. We do not want to save anything, again, because we want to draw our graph. And we're going to make another assumption. That would be the third one, that the price of each snack that we want to buy is just $1. Because again, I want you just to be focused on the quantity of these snacks that you are going to purchase. So try to pause and write 4 different ways that you can spend your money buying these type of snacks, okay? When you are done, try actually to draw your budget line. You have to end up with something like this. So you can put your snack number 1 here, your snack number 2 on the Y. And then since you have 4 different ways of spending your $50, you should have 4 different kind of quantities for your snacks. So one way of spending your money is to spend everything. Let's say my snacks are chips and salsa. So I can spend my $50 only on the chips. So then I will have 50 bags of chips and 0 salsa. So that's one way of spending my money. Or I can spend everything on salsa and 0 on chips. So the second way of spending my money is to purchase 50 jars of salsa and 0 chips. That will be the second way. Or I can say my third way of spending my money is 25 bags of chips, 25 jars of salsa. So these are my combinations, 3, of course. So try to write yours and then try to draw your budget line. So put your, as I mentioned, the snack number 1 on the X, the snack number 2 on the Y. Find these combinations of 2 snacks, let's say salsa and chips for me, on the graph, connect them, and you can get your budget line, okay? And while you do that, I am going actually to see if I can use my board here. Okay. So this is my quick kind of X and Y. So I have my snack number 1 here. Okay, doesn't let me. My snack number 1 here and my snack number 2 here. Okay. And this is, of course, my origin 0. So my first combination, as I mentioned, is to spend everything on my snack number 1, 0 on my snack number 2. So I'm down here. I'm going to call this combination A. I also have another extreme kind of combination where I spent everything on my snack number 2 and 0 on the snack number 1. I'm going to call this point B. And then I'm going to spend actually my $50 on 40 snacks, units of second snack or snack number 2, and 10 on snack number 1. So this would be my point number C. And then I am going to spend a little bit less on my snack number 2. So I'm only going to buy 10 of my snack number 2 and then 40 on snack number 1. So then this is my point B. If I connect all these points, this line is my budget line, or BL. Remember, I asked you to spend all of your money. If you do not spend everything and you want to save, then we're talking about something inside our budget line, okay? So you can have obviously different combinations of the snack 1 and 2. So you have tons of points in this budget line, right? Again, you can come up with different ways or different combinations of spending your money. But the assumption is that we have only 2 snacks and we are spending all of our money. So any point on the budget line and any point inside the budget line are affordable or attainable for you. With your $50, you can afford buying all these points on the budget line at any point inside the budget line. But of course, if you want to buy something outside your budget line, let's say 40 units of a snack number 2, and let's say 55 units of snack number 1, like a point Z, this point is not affordable for you. You do not have enough money to buy point Z. So this point Z is called unattainable because you cannot have it, okay? All right. So this is budget line. So remember, the budget line is a scarcity model that is related to consumers. It allows us to visualize how we are allocating that limited budget of ours among different goods and services that we want to buy. So by assumption, the price of a snack 1 and a snack 2 were just $1. So we worked with quantities. But if you look at also this example here, this is an example from your textbook. So we have DVDs and books. We have $120 to spend, and the prices are no longer 1. We have 20 and 1. Remember, these are different combinations of books and DVDs that we can afford and buy with 120. So the first one, we're buying 6 DVDs and 0 books because 6 times 20, which is the price for DVDs, will be 120. We do not have any money to buy books, so we have 0 books. For the second one, if you buy 5 and 2, you should consider that you are not going to overspend this money that you have, this $120, because that is your budget. So you cannot go beyond that. So we're going to make sure that price times quantity for these two will be equal to 120. That's what exactly we did when the price was just $1. So 5 times 20 is 100 plus 2 times 10, which is 20. So 100 plus 20 is 120. So as you can see, we have different ways, different combinations of DVDs and books. And if you want to draw them again, you find all these combinations, 6 and 0, 5 and 2, 4 and 4 on this graph. And then if you connect all these points, once again, you can have your, let me also clean this, sorry. Clear my drawing. You can get your budget line. So budget line was all about the scarcity, right? So now let's talk about another important scarcity model that we have, which is related to producers. So producers, just like consumers, they are dealing also with the scarcity. They have limited resources to use, right? So they have limited land, labor, capital, right? So these are our resources. We call them inputs, or we call them factors of production, as you can see here. So these are limited. Natural resources is also part of here in land. So they are limited for our producers. So just like our consumers, just like the budget line that we discussed, so our producers should also learn a way to allocate the limited resources that they have to be able to produce different goods and services for us. And here you can read the ways that we define these resources, what we mean by land, labor, and I'm going to skip because they're easy for you to read. Capital, and of course we have some people who should manage the land, labor, and capital, right? So these are all our resources, inputs, or factors of production. So the second economic model we have in this chapter is called production possibilities model. It is very, very similar to budget line because, again, it allows us to visualize how producers are able to use the limited resources that they have and how they are able to produce different goods and services for us. So it is, again, a scarcity model. However, when we talk about production possibilities, again, we're going to make some assumptions. The assumptions are a little bit different from budget line. For instance, we say we still have the 2 products or 2 snacks here because, again, we want to draw them just like budget line. But the other assumptions that we have are a little bit different from budget line. So we do have, again, the two goods assumption because we're going to draw a two-dimension graph. But we also have the full employment assumption. It means that we are going to use all the resources that we have, land, labor, and capital. So let's say if you have an office, if you have your own business, you are going to use all the resources that you have. You're going to use all the capital that you purchase for your workplace. We have fixed amount of resources. So the quantity of your resources, land, labor, capital, as well as the quality of them, they are all fixed at the given time. And you cannot also change the technology because remember, if whenever you improve the technology, the cost of production will go down and you are able to produce more. But by assumption, the technology is also fixed. So this is an example from your textbook, very similar to budget line. But here you have all these combinations of pizza and robot, which is the example we have here, that we can produce with the limited resources that we have. And if you put pizza on the X or Y, doesn't really matter, and robot on the other axis and find all these points, you should be able to connect them and end up with something like this, as we did for budget line. So this blue line here is called Production Possibilities Frontier, PPF, or Production Possibilities Curve, PPC. So our production possibilities, as you can see, is a boundary between these combinations of pizza and robot that we are able to make. Anything on the PPC and anything inside PPC is attainable, or we are able to produce them. That's what we mean by attainable. We're able to make them with the limited resources that we have. If we are talking about a point inside, of course, PPC, we're talking about unemployment, sorry, because we are not using all the resources that we have here. But if we are on the PPC, we are talking about the combinations of pizza and robot that we are able to make using all the resources that we have. As you can see, it's a boundary, this PPC, between all these points that we are able to make that are attainable, and any point outside PPC like W that is unattainable. We are not able to make W because probably we do not have enough resources. Probably we do not have enough, let's say, land and capital to make a point like W, but definitely we can make W in the future by shifting our PPC outward this way. How we're able to do that? If we change those assumptions that we made, we are able to make W in the future. We can purchase more resources. If we save some money to purchase more land, labor, and capital, or if we have a better technology, we're able to also make W in the future. Or if the prices of our resources changes, we might be able to also afford W, right? So PPC, or production possibilities curve, is a boundary between those combinations of pizza and robot in this example that we can attain, that are attainable, and those that are unattainable, okay? So which point exactly our producers are going to pick? Obviously, they cannot pick W, right? Because it's unattainable. They are not going to pick a point inside the PPC because, as I mentioned, then we're not using all the resources that we already paid for them, right? So it's like an extra cost for you. So our producers never ever pick a point inside PPC because then we are not following the first assumption that we made, which was full employment. Only our producers are going to book only points on the PPC. But which point exactly they're going to pick, it really depends on the market. It really depends on what their buyers want. It depends on demand, something that we will discuss in chapter 3. So if people like, or the customers like robots, our producers will shift all the resources toward robot and they make more robots. If they like pizza, they're going to shift the resources, are limited, right? Limited resources toward pizza and they make more pizza. So which point they pick, we really don't know because it depends on the market. Also, let me show you how we can use basically this graph. I think I don't have it again here. Let me explain it here. To calculate opportunity cost. So opportunity cost, if you remember, was what you are giving up to have something else, right? So the opportunity cost, OC stands for opportunity cost. And again, I have a short video where I explain how you can use opportunity cost in the week 1 module. So opportunity cost of pizza is the number of robots that we are giving up. So whenever you want to calculate the opportunity cost of something, here pizza, remember pizza is something that you want to gain. And robot is something that you have to give up. So let's say I want to calculate the opportunity, because again, you can watch the other video that I have on D12, which is kind of longer, because this is the last topic we have here for chapter 1. So the opportunity cost of pizza between point D and E is when we are moving from D to E, we are gaining 1 pizza. There is a cost. Remember, we have scarcity, we have limited resources. So in order to make more pizza, I have to make a sacrifice. I have to give up 4 units of robots. So the opportunity cost of 1 robot, and we always calculate the opportunity cost for 1 unit of output, is 4 robots that we have to give up. We are not able to make more of both pizza and robot at the same time because of a scarcity, because we have limited resources. So you have to sacrifice something if you want to have more of pizza. You have only other product here. The only other product that you have here is robot. So if you want to make more pizza, you have to cut your production on robot. And I can also take a look at the opportunity cost between and D for robots. So the opportunity cost of a robot will be the number of pizza that I'm giving up. So when you move backwards from E to D, you are gaining 4 pizza and you are gaining 4 robots and you are giving up 1 pizza, right? So the opportunity cost of 1 robot for you is 1/4 of a pizza, because the opportunity cost is always for 1 unit of output. You are gaining 4 robots, but you are losing, or you are giving up 1 pizza. So the opportunity cost of 1 robot for you will be 1/4 of a pizza that you are giving up. So try to see if you can calculate the opportunity cost of pizza between these 2 points, these two, then move backwards and see if you can calculate the opportunity cost of a robot between all these points. So this was basically our chapter 1. I hope that it was helpful, this video. Again, remember that these type of videos that I make are longer. If you want to see a shorter version of, let's say, just PPC, how you calculate opportunity cost, check out the videos that I have on D12. Take care, guys.